United Kingdom climate protesters glue themselves to gallery paintings. Nothing says protest like affixing yourself to a super expensive painting. You get all kinds of publicity out there. Oh, you're telling the world? No new oil. Oh, we can't have that. And yet we got a pretty massive oil shortage. And so what are we doing? Let's glue ourselves to a painting. If you're new here, if this is your first time, welcome. My name is Sean Reynolds. I own a couple of real estate companies. I read the news. You got to know about this one. I mean, this has been going on for a little bit here. People are really worked up about the whole environmental thing. And they literally took, this is a Da Vinci painting, The Last Supper, and they're just gluing themselves to the bottom of the frame, not the actual picture itself. They've got at least enough culture to know, you don't put your hand and glue yourself right onto the, actual painting. But they, right to the frame. I mean, it's so annoying. It's so unnecessary. Lots of different ways to do it. Don't have a historically significant painting involved in your protest. It's like, don't bash out windows. Just don't do it. But unfortunately, they want to get a lot of eyeballs on this topic. And in our case, we're making fun of it because it's so ridiculous. This just doesn't need to happen. Yeah, but it is, right? Let's take a look and see. Okay, so they're gluing themselves. I'm looking at some photos now. Yeah, they're gluing themselves. We only got 4 photos. We'll kick through this. There's 2 sorry-looking people. Just sorry. Oh, just stop whatever it is. Can't even tell you what that is. Just stop oil. All right. Okay, just stop oil. I'm sure that'll work out. Just stop it entirely. It's kind of like President Biden just telling gas station owners, reduce your prices. He's just basically telling people what to do now. He doesn't really have any way of significantly increasing supply, right? I mean, other than on his hands and knees, begging, absolutely begging other countries, hey, could you give us more oil and worldwide oil supply? Because domestically, we don't want to do that because we got a lot of pressure. We need these electric cars. I mean, pronto. We need to be electric by, I don't know, what's our game plan? Oh, don't really know that one either. I was doing some research on how much basically oil it takes to create the overall system of the electric car. It is astounding. And then what do we do with the batteries on these cars when we're all said and done? We've only got a few facilities to handle them. It's just, we're not there yet. We're not ready yet. So these jokers, just stop oil. All right. I see the direction you're heading in, and I think there are some things that we can do. How about we start with cleaning up the homeless encampments? How about that? That would really help out the environment. Because we see the hundreds of thousands of pounds of debris and toxicity and needles and human feces and, just coming out of homeless encampments. Let's start with that as far as cleaning up the earth. That to me. But no, I mean, that's not really going to, do your whole emissions thing that people are claiming is changing the world. All right, let's get back to this story and just see what we got going on here. Let's see what these knuckleheads have to say. Because to me, it's like, what are you even doing? Climate change protesters targeted a copy of Leonardo da Vinci's The Last Supper at London's Royal Academy of Arts Tuesday, gluing themselves to the painting's frame and spray painting "No New Oil" next to it. They just don't want to explore for oil. And they wonder why their gas prices are so high. The protest, organized by supporters of the campaign group Just Stop Oil, came a day after 2 activists from the group were arrested after gluing themselves to the frame of John Constable's The Hay Wain in London's National Gallery. My art history is limited to a single class I took at the University of Washington. I don't even know if I finished it. I was at the tail end of my collegiate career, and I bailed out 3/4 of the way through my junior year and said, I'm going into real estate. I don't really think I need this degree. Probably should have finished. just so I could have that talk with my kids. Hey, you really need to finish your college studies. That didn't happen. Some things in life just don't happen the way you want them to. So my knowledge of, famous works of art is not that great. But the Metropolitan Police said 3 men and 2 women were arrested on suspicion of criminal damage. The Royal Academy said the gallery room was closed to the public and that police were called upon the protesters' request. They wanted them there. They want to make their cause known. Just Stop Oil, which wants the government to stop giving out licenses for new oil and gas projects, has staged a series of attention-grabbing protests over the past week. They are attention-getting. Do they have any impact whatsoever to our lives or to the actual cause? I would have to say a resounding no. No, it doesn't. So these knuckleheads just basically monkey up a museum, cause some, attention grabbing that we've talked about. I'm reading the story here just because it's so ridiculous. It's not reasonable. You want one thing, you don't glue yourself to a painting in a significant museum. That's not really how this works. That's not really. Imagine somebody sitting around going, hey, what can we do to get more eyeballs on this cause? Because we really strongly believe in this cause. Remember when people threw like red paint on people wearing fur? Like, okay, yeah, that whole thing. That thing to me was like, that was another attention grabbing. You just ruined somebody's mink coat. Whether you believe in harvesting mink or whatever, oil, we're going to have oil for a while. I mean, we're going to have oil for a while. There is no way around that. It's just happening. So this kind of stuff, to me, it's just total waste of time. What are you even doing? On Monday, 2 activists were arrested after they covered Constable's 1821, the Hay Wain, with large sheets of paper depicting an apocalyptic vision of the future. All right, that really gets across your cause as well. Got an apocalyptic version of the future we drew in crayon. It's like our governor, Jay Inslee. What did he draw? He hand drew a picture of something. Oh, I think it was something to do with the Roe v. Wade overturn. It was just like cartoonish. And you're like, okay, you put that out there because you thought it was cute. But I can't even remember what it was. But it's like, you just don't look all that bright. And when you put large sheets of paper that depict an apocalyptic version of the future, what story are you getting out there? It's hard to say. All right, if we keep relying on oil, we're going to have this hand-drawn thing of apocalyptic version of the future. All right, okay. All right. Yeah, no, it does nothing for me. I don't know if it does anything for you whatsoever, but here we are. They then each stuck a hand on the frame of the oil painting and protested as security staff ushered out tourists and a group of school children because they are trespassing and they are basically violating a super expensive historic work of art, right? I'm not a big art guy, but leave the art alone. It didn't do anything to you. You know what I mean? It's like, if you don't appreciate something, just let it go. If it's not bothering you, keep it over there. It's okay. Let the art sit in the museum. All is good. The National Gallery said that the painting's frame suffered minor damage. That sucks. How about Kim Kardashian wearing Marilyn Monroe's dress and somehow damaging it? That was not good. I mean, that is an actual national treasure, right? Marilyn Monroe's dress that she wore in Happy Birthday, Mr. President video. That was a good video. She was doing her little thing, singing her song over the heat vent. Yeah, dress. Whew, Marilyn Monroe. And there was also some disruption to the surface of the varnish on the painting. That sucks. This should not be happening. Throw these clowns in jail. They won't. They'll just be like, more protesters. Maybe in the UK, maybe they do. I don't know. But both were fixed and the painting was rehung. They had some Johnny-on-the-spot fix-it guy who works for the museum, right? Activists from Just Stop Oil also disrupted the British Grand Prix race on Sunday when they sat down on the track during a halt in the Formula One race in Silverstone, southern England. What I can say about that is at least they're not bashing out windows and writing ridiculous things on federal building, maybe shooting some mortar rounds into a federal building, kind of like down in Portland. Maybe, they're not doing that. So, okay. It's still ridiculous. Sitting down on the track. That's just stupid. Police said 6 people were charged with conspiracy to cause public nuisance at the race. So these knuckleheads, they get thrown in jail. They do a day or whatever. They get some little charge on their record. Maybe, probably not. But this whole activism thing with the oil, yeah, good luck with that. This whole thinking that we're going to be converting to electric cars in the very, very near future. You might get electric car if that's really your thing. I mean, I've ridden in a bunch of them. They're cool. They accelerate wildly. My kid's got a Tesla Roadster, one of the original models, and it is a rocket, absolute rocket. It's wild. It's also very small. And you're like in there with your shoulders like this, because my shoulders are pretty wide. And I feel like I'm sitting on my kid, even though I'm in the passenger. Literally your legs are up really close because these cars are not big, but it's fun to drive around in. That's not the whole point of these protesters, is it? They want to completely stop reliance upon oil. It's going to take years and years and years to make this go. And these protesters wanting to really hurry this process along, are they really getting anywhere? Yeah. No, they're not. But they're being a nuisance, and that's their job, right? Their job is to bring a nuisance and bring awareness to the issue. But I think the rest of us reasonable people are kind of going, well, you got some emissions issues. All right. Is it really causing climate change? People are debating that heavily, right? Heavily. I mean, climate kind of does its thing. I'm a believer that the earth, can kind of fix itself, kind of does its thing. Maybe we're pushing things a little too far with the emissions. I don't really know. I haven't really studied that, in depth, mainly because I figure somebody else way smarter than me will be working on that. And I'm sure they are. But these climate activists, it's like, we've got people dying on the street here in Seattle. We got people dying of overdose, on fentanyl. King County, the county I'm located in, is going to declare like in a state of emergency. There's so many people dying. And you want to push us towards electric cars being the biggest concern. And we don't have enough energy to run these cars to begin with, right? So just so many different little things there. You're like, okay, and you're gluing yourself to a picture frame. Interesting approach. Not the approach I would take, but it's better than bashing out windows. Maybe, you know what I mean? In the sense that it's easy to fix. If they ruined the painting, I think heads would roll. But doesn't sound like they did that. Not justifying what they did, but we're just talking about a story. And the story is some ridiculous activists doing ridiculous things like they do. Like the activists do down in Portland. Ridiculous stuff. Just not reasonable. It's not reasonable at all, is it? All right. Thanks for being with me on this one. They glued themselves to the gallery and they got unglued. Picture got solved. Problem over. Thanks for being here. We'll catch up soon. Talk then. Bye for now.